morning, everyone.
Morning.
It's a busy screen today. Welcome along to In Control Scotland's monthly webinar Wednesday with a bit of a festive flair today. We are got the team here today. Hello, team.
Hey.
Hi.
It's like the Brady Bunch, isn't it? And what we're going to do today is just have a nice reflection on the year and talk about all the adventures that we've had and all the chats and the projects that we've been working on. And we've got a couple of special guests along who to talk about what they've been up to this year around In Control Scotland as well. So big warm welcome to Karen.
Good morning to you.
Who is a In Control Scotland lifer, aren't you, Karen? You've been around the projects now.
Yeah.
So what have you been up to? You just tell us quickly what you've done this year for around about us.
Round about yourself, I've been on the Working for Change course. This is the second attempt at it, and it's been fabulous. It's been really lovely to be back in that and to be learning and getting more information.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Karen. And just next to Karen is William. Good morning, William.
Morning.
Good morning. And can you tell us a wee bit about how you're involved?
I'm involved through Stay Up Late and also did Partners in Policymaking before COVID.
And you're involved in the Rights and Equalities project as well, aren't you?
Yep.
Busy. Excellent. Thank you. And Richard down the bottom. Hello, Richard.
Hello. Excuse me. Hello. Good morning.
Hi.
Yeah, I feel like I'm a relative newbie, and I'm fresh from graduating from Partners in Policymaking at the weekend, where we had various delights, including Keith's lyrical offering. So yes, I am one of the cohorts that started the training in 2019, and then had COVID in between. But it was lovely to finally graduate.
Yeah, and it was a great event on Friday when we managed to just get in before the restrictions all kicked in again to make sure we could get our team graduating, which is fantastic. So yeah, we're just going to have a quick chat about the 2021, the year that we've just managed to survive, and staggering towards the festive period in the hopes that 2022 might give us a bit more time and space together in the real world to actually see each other and do some programs together. But Keith, I don't know if you want to say how's your year been?
So I maybe I just wanted to reflect on the fact that 2021 saw your arrival as the new director of In Control Scotland as well, Pauline.
It did. Thank you for having me. It's been a wild old ride. starting a new job and not really getting to meet people in the real world all that much, but spending a lot of time seeing all your wee faces on a box on the screen has been lovely. Yeah, it's been a treat. Thank you for the warm welcome, and thanks to everybody who's given their time so generously as well to help me get to know them, all our members and partners across all our different programs. It's been great.
Mm-hmm. And you've been around since July, haven't you now? So that's, what's that? Almost, not half a year, but almost, 4 months, 5 months now? No, 4 months. 4 months.
Yeah, one of those. Feels like, I remember saying to somebody after my first few weeks, it feels like I've been here for 2 minutes and 2 years all at the same time. And I think that's a good sign. Mm-hmm. But it's been great just getting to meet everybody. It's been a year of kind of listening and learning, I suppose, the last few months for me, getting to know everybody. But it's been fantastic.
Mm-hmm. And it's been a strange old time, hasn't it? Because it's been a time where in some ways things have moved very slowly, but also in some ways you look back and you think, whoa, that's like, for example, Richard, it's 20, we said, didn't we reflect on the fact it's 26 months since you actually started on that very first weekend for the Partners in Policymaking program. And when you look back at that, you think, how can that be all that length of time since you started? And actually, Karen, it's not quite as long, but almost as long that you started on the renewed Working Together for Change program that we then paused and then restarted again in just a couple of months ago. And we did manage very thankfully to get the first session of everybody coming together and meeting each other as an in-person session, which was, I think, really, really important, wasn't it? Don't know what
Yeah, I think it was. I think that was the first time that I had been anywhere with people of any number at all. So I was quite anxious about it. But you asked us to take, to flow before we went, and we did that, and it was lovely to meet everyone. Everyone's kind of just reinvigorated. Really, I think they've got a passion that they maybe didn't have so much beforehand. And I think because they saw the changes and they saw that sometimes they couldn't respond the way they wanted to, they're really passionate about it. So it was really nice. It was really quite homely. So yeah, so we're looking forward to working together.
And it definitely does. Sorry, definitely does feel like people are pointing in the same direction with that, doesn't it? So that is,
yeah, very much so. Yeah. I'm really keen to get stuck in. And I guess I should say between the start of that course and the end of that course, I did the SQE and self-directed support with community brokerage. So personally, I'm in a different place from where I was when we started that course. So I'm really happy to keep that knowledge moving.
When did you actually graduate from that one, Karen? When did you actually complete? Have you?
I don't know. June in the spring. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
Good.
You know what it's like. There's nothing now to try and work out what a timeline is. So yeah.
No,
last year.
Okay. Yeah. It's either rain or it's cold rain.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying? Yeah. Yeah, but anyway, working together for change. We're now going to be online now for a little bit, aren't we? But we are planning to meet together back again in end of February would be our next scheduled meeting together again. So that hopefully we'll be through this next week bump along the COVID recovery road. So.
No, thank you. And we had Alistair and June were part of working together for change as well, obviously, coming together with the team. How did it feel for you guys being back in the real world?
Well, it was great just to get back in a room with people. I think it's, like you said, because we had to delay it the last time because of COVID, we just actually started it. I think we were on the second session, then COVID hit. So it just feels such a long time. So it was such a great feeling. And it was great because everybody that was on more or less everybody that was on the first programme kind of came back. So it was good. Good to see everybody.
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of people were really apprehensive about the idea of catching up. And we did such a lot of work to try and, the work about getting people in small groups and keeping them in small groups and the lateral flows. So even though people were anxious about the idea of it, I think it was absolutely the right thing to do. And the fact that we managed to get that confidence, because it's a bit about scaling up people's personal experience as a group. Because I think personally, a lot of people were saying, anxiety levels were through the roof. Folk were saying, is this necessary? And people's worlds had got so small that any attempt to go beyond that was almost like starting afresh with a lot of things. And I think that a lot of the steps we had to take to plan anything. One of the things it reminded me of was having a baby for, a little tiny, and you plan all this stuff. Oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And then you suddenly realize that actually, if you can manage to do one of those 10 things, that's a result. Because you've got so much you've got the travel problems, you've got the PCRs, you've got this, you've got the technology. So I think it's just been 21's been an exercise in dealing with the flow, I think, and just having to just adjust your expectations so you don't get too frustrated.
It's not going with the flow; it's going with the lateral flow.
Oh,
is it literally going with the lateral flow? Anyway, Alistair, I was just going to check with you. Is that a Christmas jumper or is it Aberdeen away strip?
Yes. Frosty the Snowman is making an appearance.
Yeah, I feel like I've let the team down. This might look a little bit like a Christmas jumper, but it's not actually.
You could have pretended. You could have pretended it had a glorious Santa on it.
Yeah. Down here.
I think that's a really good point that you made, Alistair, though, about people's lives feeling a bit smaller, people's worlds just kind of becoming a lot more limited. And that's maybe a nice segue to talk on about the Rights and Equalities project. Do you want to tell us a wee bit? Because it's been a busy year for you in that team?
Yes, thanks, Pauline. So, well, William's been involved in this as well. But basically, we've kind of our Facebook group has kind of, I think, has really blossomed. The support, the peer support between people, between our organised sessions, and I think that was one of the things that Amanda, who unfortunately couldn't join us today, has been really key in is facilitating and growing those connections and helping people to feel like they can contribute and they don't have to wait for professionals to facilitate things. So that's been really apparent, because there's been lots of chat and traffic, that doesn't require moderating, that people are offering support to one another. That's been really helpful. And we've also evolved our idea of a website around about giving people confidence to meet up in different parts of the country and what support would take to make that happen. And we've now got a name for that called Grow Bigger Lives. And that's we're working on that at the moment and doing little videos. So we've challenged each other to do little videos on our phone about places that are free or low cost, that are particularly places that are maybe feel quite safe spaces that you would, if somebody new was coming to your city or town or village, how could you make people feel confident about, well, this is the bus stop, or this is the entrance here, this is the layout, this is how busy it is. And just, we're going to make some of those little things and encourage lots of people to feed into that, and then to be there as kind of link people. So if somebody comes to your area and says, look, I've never been to Aberdeen before, could you meet me off the bus? Could you, be there to be on the phone for me? And we just want to create this little network across Scotland, open to everybody, but just a wee bit about encouraging that, getting back the bigness in the lives. Of course, it will all be dependent on when we're allowed to, but we can do some of the virtual stuff. So if anybody on this call, or if anybody who's watching wants to do a little video of a place round about them, that would be lovely, because the more that we can do this, we want this to be across Scotland. William, you got any reflections about any of the rights and equalities stuff, or the video on YouTube, the poem maybe?
Oh, the poem and the video. That poem and that video that took hours to do, with Alistair going, no, louder, quieter, louder, quieter. First time I've ever been shouted at by a bald ginger man. Hopefully it'll be the last. I've got to confess a sin, I haven't watched that whole video yet.
You haven't watched it?
I haven't watched it. I am more scared to hear my voice back. It's like, but yeah.
I've watched it. It's very good.
Aye.
It's very good. Mm-hmm. We could, in fact, is that up on our YouTube page? Could we stick a wee link to that?
Yeah, we'll stick a wee link up. Yeah, that's it. So we could do that. I mean, that's an interesting one. Just that video in itself, right? We had a discussion as a group, and we said, look, let's have a go. We decided, let's have a go at writing a wee poem between us. We can all write a line each or something like that, and then we'll film it. And initially, people were like, oh, that's too much pressure. We can't possibly write this right now, Alistair. What are you asking? And I said, no, I'm not saying right now. I'm just saying this is the idea, and we can work on it over it. Oh, we'll never do that. We'll never do that.
And then we'll start chucking a line in.
Aye. And then within half an hour, everybody's written it. And so it's that thing about what you believe you can do and what you actually do when you feel supported and safe to share. And I think that's one of the real benefits of that group, is that some people who are pretty battle weary of groups and being let down and folk not being there, have supported each other and felt like they can contribute. And I think that's great. And I think that's what In Control Scotland's all about, whether it's partners or working together for change. It's about the real stuff, not just superficial, like little bits and bobs and then go back to the day job. It's like keeping on going. And I think 2021's been about keeping on going. And I'd be love to hear what other people, we think we need to do more of to help keep that going, especially in these difficult backward times, when we're starting slipping back a bit. with restrictions, etc.
And we're still on that deal, Alistair. If I can get another 95 folk to join, that you'll shave your beard off.
He's determined. He's determined to I don't know. It's become a thing. I'm certainly not doing any more push-ups. That's for one thing.
How long have you had your beard, Alistair?
I've had it. Well, actually, I've had it pretty much solidly for about 16 years. Before it was.
There used to be more on top, though, didn't Alistair, as well?
Yeah, there used to be. Yeah, there used to. I used to have long hair. I should put that up at one time as well. Yes, long hair and the beard. Billy Connolly look really.
Can I just check, Alistair? You know, in terms of the Growing Bigger Lives website, is there when is the plan for that? When do you think realistically that's going to go live or be out there? Or
well, I think we're developing it behind the scenes just now, but I would hope that within the next 3 months we should have a draft one up, and we should be asking people for comments and content on it, because I'm quite happy for it to be something that evolves and develops, so that we don't wait forever to make it happen. But yeah, so as soon as we start getting some more of the content, we've got a lot of the rules and stuff. And again, that was an interesting one, a bit about how we pitch it. So we said it's for everybody, but it's for everybody that's an adult, so over 16. But again, we were talking a bit about risks and how we managed, keeping each other safe, doing things like meeting up and talking to people. And so we've made some rules around about, if anybody making contact to this website it would be through the website, so it would be directly to people, so that it keeps people safe, and would have somebody kind of on call at the first time they met up, so that if for whatever reason the person let them down at the other end, that there'd be somebody who could talk them through the connection and stuff. So we've put quite a lot of thought into this. So there's quite a lot of it already there. A lot of it's now about translating that into something that's easy for people to look at and understand and make sense of. Because although we started it with a focus on inclusion for people with disabilities and care experienced, we were clear that this is for everybody. This is there's no entry criteria. You don't have to have a diagnosis or you're just a person. So this is for everybody, but with an emphasis on it being inclusive. So I'm quite excited. I think it's going to be something that could be quite significant if lots of people start getting involved with it. So hopefully in the next 3 months.
Thanks.
Look forward to that going live. Very exciting piece of work. But obviously, so that's all about relationships and connections, and there's nothing that speaks louder to that than Partners in Policymaking, which is an amazing bunch of people who formed an amazing network of disabled self-advocates and parents of disabled children. And like Richard's just come through the other side of a marathon Partners in Policymaking program. How has it been for you, Richard? How do you feel coming out the other side? What's the impact been for you?
Well, I suppose the main impact has been just being given permission to dream and to have dreams for my daughter, and I think I'd kind of stopped doing that fairly early on in her life because of the various challenges we came across and met. So that's probably the most significant thing, but actually also dreams for me as well. So I think that's one of the really powerful things about it. It was particularly those of us who were parents of disabled children. We maybe went on the program thinking we were there. I was there because of Molly, and that's true. But actually, throughout the program, there was also a very strong emphasis on well, what about me as well? And so yeah, that's not a very concrete way. Dreams aren't necessarily very concrete, are they? But I guess sometimes having dreams does then lead to action and change.
Absolutely, it has to be the foundation of it all, doesn't it? The thing that I've obviously come in halfway through, but not halfway through in chronologically, but in terms of the program, into the program. And the thing that amazed me in the partners group was like the connections and the relationships across people in the group who would never have ordinarily met each other or had the opportunity to learn and share from each other. But it seemed really genuine that people were that there was a kind of care across the group and really strong bonds and relationships as well. Did you? How did it feel being as a parent, being part of this ragtag bunch of people who are all committed to the greater good?
Yeah, no, it did feel very connected, and I guess it gave me a sense of community that perhaps I didn't really have before. I mean, I have to some extent been a stay-at-home dad. I work part-time, so I've kind of got relatively involved in childcare and relatively involved in schools, but always felt a little bit separate because Molly is different in certain ways. So I think partners gave me that community that perhaps I might have imagined I would have had, but hadn't really had. And I suppose I'm really excited about what happens next. I'm wondering how. I have a sense that I would like to be involved in partners. I could imagine being involved in being part of a team that continue to run the program. And I suppose I'm sad that there isn't funding yet, but I'm also keen to consider how perhaps by telling our stories and the previous graduates, as in Karen and all the many other previous years of graduates, how we harness what partners has led us to do, and not just the dreams, but what actually has led on from that. And I know there's work on that, and I think that's really important work to gather that together in order to make a strong case for the value of the program, which clearly isn't monetary, but I guess at one level in terms of getting funders, it is also monetary.
And when you meet up with other people in your normal life, then it's a kind of secret code for someone you can trust. So if you meet someone who's been in the partners course, you know that you can trust them, you know that they understand what you're saying and why you're saying it. So it's quite nice to have that kind of secret code and to know that you can go forward with whatever it is you're doing with those folk that have been in that course already.
Yeah, I am wondering when we get told what the secret handshake is. I think I may have missed that module.
That's really I was just thinking about what happens next, Richard, and also Karen as well, really. And I was thinking just about, that's really interesting what you're saying, just beginning to think a little bit forward like that. But I was also just thinking about, it's almost like I don't know whether, when a sportsman retires from being a sports person, then they retire and they think, actually, okay, that's finished now. There's also that, I would imagine there's quite a bit of a sense of loss again now. Don't know whether there's any.
There's not really, because I'm a parent of a disabled child, so my world doesn't stop when I finish the partners course or when I finish this course. All it does is add to my knowledge and make me a better parent, a more comfortable parent. So no, there's never any loss. It just makes you a better understanding what's going on and better to support the people in your world who maybe haven't been in the course. So no, there's never an end. No.
I think one of the cool things is that we know that I used to work in transitions, and this is almost a transition for people, isn't it? You've accumulated all this knowledge and understanding and insight into the big problem that we're all facing, and it's like, what do you do after that? And the one of the best principles of good transitions is relationships, and I suppose what Partners does is bring that group of people, so there's always a shoulder you could tap and an ear you can kind of chew on to mull a problem over. And I think that's really important. One of the graduates at the final session on Friday was talking about feeling like she's at that kind of like a wee tipping point. Like you've got to this point, and it's like, where do I go from here? I could go here, I could go here, I could go here. I've got everything I need to know and I need to think about. So it's just like taking that next step over the line into whatever comes next. And it's a really exciting time, I think, for the graduates to be looking outwards and thinking, well, what is next for me? And I think the thing that we've always said is that there are amazing contributions that people have made from being in Partners and our other programs as well. They've gone on to be really influential or set up charities or set up businesses or make policy change and all these incredible things, but actually that doesn't happen overnight, and it could be a month down the line, a year down the line, 10 years down the line, where something just clicks and you think, oh, here, that was the reason I did partners. Now I know it'll come, and something will change, and something will spark. So, and it's different for everybody, isn't it?
I also, one of the most important things I learned was at the weekend. I learned what you call someone who comes from Paisley, didn't I, June? A polite term for someone who comes from Paisley, maybe. Maybe there's many terms.
Yeah, see, you learn loads of stuff on partners.
Whenever I left the course, I used to come out feeling quite sicky and quite tearful, because I knew that every perspective that I looked at for my child was about to change. And I had that at the Working for Change last session as well, where I began to feel a wee bit sick, because I knew that everything I looked at would be reassessed for me to move forward. So yeah, so it is quite moving sometimes how you feel after it.
Mm-hmm. I just wondering if William wants to make any reflections on his time at Partners that doesn't involve the late night drinking sessions with Jordan, obviously.
Shush!
We'll
Don't give away that secret. Don't give away the secret, the fact that we were probably the only group that Janie's ever had to shout at for drinking and dancing on tables, and I think we embarrassed the name of Partners at Stirling Court Hotel that time round. Me running about in the hotels in a onesie.
I know which William you are now. Thanks, William.
Is that William? Yes.
I am that William. You've probably heard hundreds of stories about me, knowing exactly who was doing Partners this time round. But yes, I'm the one who ran up the hotel in a onesie.
Excellent. And I'm sure that wasn't the only impact it had on your life, William. Hopefully.
Partners had so much of an impact that it's given me the tools and confidence this year to go back and do college and finally get my NC qualification in animal care. If Janie hasn't already done so, hopefully Janie's not listening, you will be added onto a Facebook group where there are hundreds of others of us who, if you're struggling, will always be a listening ear, will give you advice, and will always be there for you. So you're not on your own. I missed the point on secret handshake, but I now know who I can trust and who I can't trust, who is a spanner in the works and who is a fairy. And I realised that June likes a hell of a lot of Iron Brew. And if you fill in an expenses form wrong, just give her a can of Iron Brew, apologise, and June will sort you out.
Easily bribed, William, easily bribed.
And June's faster than paying you than Keith is.
Divide and conquer. Also, yep. William, since you finished that course, you've also done sort of like the leadership course with SCLD, and you've also
leadership.
You're now on the board of Granting Opportunities as well.
Yeah.
So I think that's some of the things.
Hot off the press.
Yeah.
I also managed to write a successful lottery bid, didn't I?
Oh, you did, didn't you?
With your support, Alistair. And how much did we ask for?
I know we asked for. Oh well, this wasn't for In Control, by the way. But yes, for the learning disability group that William's the chair for. We wrote a bid.
Since Partners.
We put the bid in for 5,600, and the lottery gave us 10 grand.
So that's
without us asking for this. So that's.
So Partners gave me the confidence to do all that.
Yes, good stuff.
Mm. Yeah, I think that's an interesting one, isn't it, William? Because I actually think that confidence is the thing that I would probably say that as well. Because you're also on the National Committee for State-Based Scotland as well, aren't you? So you've been engaged with that. Although I know you've been involved in that for a long time, and that's another thing that we've been keeping going in one way or another during the lifetime of our lockdown.
And we did the longest stay up late this year, Keith. From sundown to sun up.
Yeah.
Keith, please do not bring out baked potato. I'm still scarred from seeing that. Oh no.
Anyway, sorry, you can't turn it off now.
No, you can't.
Okay, right. It's gone in the corner.
Can still hear it.
You can still hear it.
You can still hear it, yeah.
But yeah,
vocals,
when that's pouncing across your screen, and you're sleep deprived at 3 a.m, you think, "Am I seeing things? He's got a baked potato."
Possibly, yeah.
I think you're a Kevin the Carrot at one point as well.
No, I don't think so.
But I
may have
can't.
had several things, but that wasn't one.
But I can't believe we started that at 8 o'clock at the end of Learning Disability Week, and we're still partying at 6 o'clock on a Sunday morning.
Wild.
I literally changed out my party gear, had a shower, and went to church the next morning.
Okay. Yeah, well, one day maybe we'll be able to get some more activity going in actual person again, which will be amazing. Which would be amazing, because I know that's been a massive,
Totally.
Massive shift, a massive change for everyone. Yeah.
What about yourself?
Sorry, I was just going to mention another thing that we've done this year that it's not something that it's something that we've done over the past few years, but we've taken a bit more of a head of steam on it, is the New Roots homework, again, which is about people who have been cooped up in hospitals or out of area placements. And we've started doing some work with individuals, with one individual and family, to try and say, well, this is our aims on a bigger scale, but this is on a personal level. This is what it's actually doing to people, and trying to say, a bit like the Working Together for Changing Partners, let's all get together. Let's don't keep giving us excuses and stories as to why you don't want to talk to us about this stuff. Go and let's all get in a room together, even if it's virtually, and let's say, how can we make this person's life closer to what they want and less about what the system has driven them to? And it's still that's been incredibly difficult. And it's brought me back to almost 30 years ago when I was involved in closing hospitals in the northeast of Scotland, because some of the arguments and some of the thinking still isn't on a par with what we're doing and Working Together for Change and Partners at all, and we're still having to argue the same topics. And that's the stuff that I think we're all a bit frustrated at, is that we know that this stuff works, we know that it's better, we know that it's human rights based, and yet still the computer says no can still sometimes trump that. And we've got to get past that in 2022. That will be one of my doubts.
Yeah. I mean, this year, obviously, also, we haven't referenced any of that at all, but it was the year when the independent review of adult social care came out in Scotland, and then we've had more recently the consultation on the National Care Service. So just any views on how are people feeling about that, in terms of, you feeling optimistic about that? You're waiting to see? I don't know. Just really, how are people on the call here today just thinking about the idea of a National Care Service and what that might bring for us in the next year and the following years?
I guess it came out with, the Feely report came out with such, positivity, and people were just so happy that people could see the reality and what we needed. But the consultations just went on forever. And as a parent, then everybody wanted a piece of you to ask your views, and it was just squeezed and squeezed and squeezed, and it got diluted the whole way. So it was unfortunate as folk whose views were asked. Then it was just everybody wanted to be part of that. So it was quite hard going by the end of it, I'll be honest. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, obviously it's a long, long way away. So from my perspective, I'm just happy to sit out and see what happens just now.
Yeah, and actually the other side of it being that I think the whole, although it feels like it's a long way from being maybe set up and implemented, it still feels like it's going quickly. Like there's the action from the review to the consultation to there being a bill presented next year, and that'll outline some of the structure. It feels like it is going to happen quite quickly, which is exciting, but also, it's going to occupy quite a lot of our brains and our lives, having to sit and think about what does this mean around about self-directed support, where do human rights fit into, where's choice and control and dignity and freedom and all those principles that we believe in, and making sure they underpin everything in the National Care Service. So I'm really optimistic about it. I think there's a real good opportunity to reduce that postcode lottery that we hear about day in and day out in the work that we do, and make things hopefully a bit more equitable. But it's a big ship to turn, a big old ship to turn quite quickly. Definitely excited about the prospect.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that the opportunity for decent social care, if we can get something that sorts out the embarrassing roller coaster of social care workforce continually being undervalued, and then you get a little wee peak where there's like, oh, we've recognised you, throw you a bone, and then a few years later they recognise that inflation's taken over, and just being at the whim of that. So that would be lovely. I suppose the values behind the Feely report, and that's all really positive. I suppose the issue with all of these things is when government and when it becomes at scale and it starts to get implemented, it's trying to keep the purity of it, because what we've seen with SDS is it absolutely had the values, it had the discussion, but still when it gets big, unless you've got people at each level making sure that none of it gets diluted, the words can change, but the reality doesn't always. And so if we could, I suppose that's my main concern with all this, is if we can keep that purity throughout it so that it doesn't get diluted, it has the potential to be absolutely massive.
It's quite a lot of discussion about fair work at the moment as well, isn't there, of course, and really valuing people who are actually providing support, which is obviously a really, really important thing. And hopefully we don't lose the momentum or the energy that's within that discussion at the moment, because it is a massive challenge, obviously, when we look around, isn't it? For anyone, for individuals employing personal assistants, but also for organizations employing people to work in support work roles. It's just getting, sustaining and keeping the right people is a big issue, big challenge.
Absolutely. And the recognition that PA employers are part of this movement as well. Do you know, the support that needs to be in place to make sure that PA employers have got the supports that they need to be able to be good employers to PAs, to make sure that being a PA is an attractive job and people want to do it and they're able to get the support and the training that they might need to do their jobs well. So very, very complicated. But I suppose it doesn't have to be. That's what you're saying, Alistair, isn't it? It can be, if we stay true to the principles and the values of it, then it doesn't have to become as complicated as it possibly could end up being. If we keep it simple, then it might be best.
Definitely.
What about yourself, June, up in the corner? How's your year been?
Yeah, it's been good. It's challenging at times. I think just when we think back to the very first lockdown, we kind of had to work out how we were going to do things, because we were just that used to just planning things and going ahead with it. But obviously we had to think differently, a lot differently, in how we were going to do that. So it's been really surprising. And that comes down to working together again, working together with our members, colleagues, friends in Control Scotland, and how we were going to do that. And we continue to do that the best way possible. Like Alistair was mentioning earlier, when we looked at the Working Together for Change, we worked out how we were going to get people in the room together. And I'd been linking in with the participants, and everybody was quite eager to get together, although a bit anxious. So we worked through as a team how we were going to do that. And we also linked in with the participants. So it's been good. Just glad that we're still able to do a lot of the stuff that we really like doing. But no, it's been really good. And I'm looking forward to 2022, because obviously we're doing some strategic planning and what we're going to be doing over the next year or so. Still continuing, hopefully get some more funding for partners, the Working Together for Change, our children's programmes. So all good.
We haven't positive. As always, relentlessly positive. That's us. I was going to say, we haven't mentioned the children and families work particularly. It's been good kicking off again with the lunchtime programmes for practitioners and people interested in SDS. They've been really interesting. Keith, do you want to say a wee bit more about the programme for the rest of what's happening?
So we are going to continue with that in the new year. So we're going to continue that on the same basis as a lunchtime session on the last Thursday of every month. So if anybody who's hearing this, listening to this, would like to come along, please just get in touch through the info@ info@in-controlscotland.org.uk address. And those are just lunchtime sessions, an hour and a half. Usually we have 2 or 3 people presenting, speaking. Sometimes usually it's actually just a Q&A with someone. It's an opportunity so we don't make it too scary or scare anyone off. And we're talking to people who themselves have got personal experience of support, and we're talking to family carers. But it's anyone interested in self-directed support for children, young people, and families. And that's the way it goes. An hour and a half lunchtime session, informal, drop in, drop out if you want at the end, because obviously we are doing it at time to try and make it as easy as possible for people to come along for as much or as little as they want. So we've got them on the last Thursday of every month in January, February, and March. We've got we usually have a different topic. The topic for the January one's going to be more about getting short breaks and what that feels like now, and looking at some things that are working, some things that are not working. So if anybody's interested in coming along to those, please do. And then we've also got some more active work in a couple of different places as well, including Shetland, where they've been particularly looking at making good decisions in their children's social work department. A couple of little bits of work elsewhere, like in East Lothian, Perth and Kinross. So that's going to continue into the new year, and on Zoom, of course, for now. On Zoom for now.
And actually, it's been quite good being able to have those sessions online and be able to have as many people access as are able to. I think that's one of the few not the few benefits. There have been quite a few benefits, I suppose, to working a bit more remotely, but that's definitely a strong one, is that folk are able to just tune in at their desk while they're having their lunch from any part of the country.
Yeah, and I think you can reach a wider audience as well. I mean, if you're having something central, say in Glasgow, there's only so many people that can travel and come to that. Whereas if we're having it on Zoom online, we get more people. We're able to reach a wider audience, and more people are included.
I think that's that thing about building back better. Whenever that happens, whenever we can actually build back it in a concerted way, that activity is always going to involve some online activity, isn't it? Because you do, as you say, get the chance to reach different people and to do some different things that you couldn't do, but you still don't. But you can't replace the actual relationship aspect of being in the same space with people as well.
I think there's the benefits of doing both, though, doing that kind of blended stuff.
Yeah,
definitely.
And I think sometimes if you suffer from anxieties and things like that, actually getting to somewhere can be quite hard going. Whereas if you could sit in your living room, then it takes all that away and you're far happier, and yet it's a far easier way to listen to stuff. So I think it's a great way to work. It really is.
It's maybe a good place for you to plug your final festive feel good Friday. Get my words out, Alistair. Go plug.
It is. No, you're right. That's right. Yeah. So we've had these feel good Fridays, and we added to them with Thoughtful Thursdays, which was on a Thursday evening as people started going back, and we were doing those kind of weekabouts throughout the whole of the pandemic, really. And as people have started going back to doing other things, it was always going to be a limited lifespan thing. So we've decided at the end of November to stop the weekly sessions. But like last year, we're going to do a Christmas special, a kind of Christmas Eve lunchtime session. Again, because we recognise that not everybody's got lots of people at Christmas, and all the TV's full of happy families and lots of stuff and all this stuff, and it's not a reality for a lot of people. And even if it is, it's just a chance to catch up with other folk. It can be a welcome, another wee thing. So 1 till 2 on Christmas Eve, we're having a festive Friday, and so that's another little milestone for things going forward. William's always joined in with all the festive Friday stuff, and it's been amazing how we've connected to some people that but some other folk who we really hadn't caught up with before, and folk have made connections that hopefully will continue beyond the lifespan of the wee group, because that's what we're all about, is those connections growing over time into something that doesn't need us to facilitate all the way through. And just one other thing that I thought we haven't mentioned as well is when we're doing, it's a bit more left field, but kind of the work that Danielle and Michael have been doing alongside us about the inclusive media, just again, about how people, how disabled people are portrayed in the media, and also about jobs in the media. So again, while we're all online and there's all this stuff about, also just thinking about, you know, just, are we still the same tired stereotypes about, oh, this poor person, blah, 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 rather than, or this inspiration or whatever, you know, so better rounded views of us all as people rather than as little wee segments to be fitted into things. So I think it's another example of In Control Scotland doing stuff that's wider than just the SDS bit, but thinking about people's lives more widely.
Absolutely.
Can I just say as well, In Control Scotland are part of Scottish Government's Clear Your Head campaign at the moment. So we've been sharing a lot of different stuff on our Facebook page with a link. They've got some fantastic ideas and how to kind of cheer people up and how to keep you safe and everything. So if you click on the link, you can have a wee look.
And you've been sharing that on the Facebook pages, June?
Sharing it on the Facebook page, yeah. There's a link to the Clear Your Head website. And as I said, they've got some really good stuff on there.
Yeah, I'll stick it on Twitter because I haven't done that yet, but I will do.
Yeah, can you access that through our website as well? Can you, June?
Yes,
can you access that through it? Yeah.
Yes.
Good. Excellent. Good. And you can also, of course, anyone who wants to either watch this one back because you've enjoyed it so much, or watch literally watch any of the other webinar Wednesdays that will be recorded over the last several months, way back to the start of the pandemic. Anyway, they're all on YouTube, so the easiest place probably is to go to the In Control Scotland YouTube channel, I think, to view any of the previous webinars that we've been involved in. Yeah.
And if you go into the In Control Scotland YouTube page, you'll also see some vlogs from Danielle. You'll see other bits and bobs, like the animation from the Strathclyde Uni research. We didn't even mention that. It's been a busy old year. 45
I think there's just so much that's happened through the year, and so many people that's been involved working with us as well. It's just 45 minutes doesn't feel enough to try and get that all in, but in case we've missed MD out, obviously we want to say a big massive thank you to everybody that's been involved with us throughout the last couple of years.
Yeah, and amazingly we're still involved in a European project as well. Yeah. So I mean, you didn't mention that, the Skills project, which is funded through to the end of September next year, isn't it? September 2022. So we're still involved with some European partners looking at how to best develop and share resources that people can use across different countries around individual support, self-directed support, getting the right support, however we want to describe what we're talking about. So,
and then we never mentioned We Are One.
No, we haven't mentioned We Are One.
See, we've been busy bees throughout the last year.
Yeah, and the new next festival scheduled for April.
Yeah, April 2022. So we'll be getting some information out about that soon.
And we're hoping that'll be a hybrid event with some stuff happening in person and some stuff happening online. So hopefully everybody
all being well. It will definitely go ahead anyway. Maybe online, but like Pauline says, we're hoping to get a few venues sorted out. So exciting stuff to look forward to.
Absolutely. And there's definitely a lot for us to look forward to next year. I know my to-do list for 2022 is already a mile long, but it's all good stuff. So I suppose that's probably all the time we've got for today, isn't it? But just a huge thank you to our to the team. We've got Alistair, Keith and June, and our lovely guests, Karen, William and Richard. Thank you so much for joining us, and everybody watching us on Facebook and YouTube. Just to say, have an amazing time over the Christmas and period, and have a fantastic new year, and all the best for 2022. Anybody else wants to say any lovely festive wishes? Keith, you singing a song? No.
Just to say massive thanks again to everybody, and like yourself, Pauline, wish everybody a great Christmas and the best Christmas that you can have. And hopefully we get into 2022 being able to see our family and friends again.
Brilliant.
Yeah, happy
Right.
Christmas, everyone.
You.
Go well.
Yeah, stay well, stay safe.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye.